Let's watch a video first. Just 2 months after getting married, a 21-year-old woman, unwilling to live with her husband, premeditated his murder by causing him to fall into a well and die. On March 17, 2023, 21-year-old Lu Mao married a fellow villager of the same age, also named Lu Mao. Unwilling to live with her husband but worried about being gossiped about if she annulled the marriage, she plotted to kill him. On the evening of May 29, Lu Mao tricked her husband into taking 6 pills. Using the excuse of flipping a coin to interpret a dream, she drove their car to a well, then lured and forced him to go down the well to catch fish, causing him to fall in. Faced with her husband's desperate cries for help, Lu Mao drove back and forth several times but refused to rescue him. At 2 a.m. the next morning, she covered the well and fled. Her husband ultimately died of asphyxiation due to lack of oxygen. Lu Mao was sentenced to death for her crime. Her appeal was denied, the original verdict was upheld, and she was executed on September 26, 2025. You say she's bold, yet she was afraid of gossip for annulling the marriage. You say she's timid, yet she dared to murder her own husband. As the saying goes, a heart of pity, a smile of poison. The real motive behind this case wasn't the fear of losing face from gossip over an annulment. The true reason was that she had received a large bride price and didn't want to return it. In the end, she decided to take a chance, attempting to create an accident to end her husband's life. This is a case of mariticide that was recently carried out in Hezi, Shandong. From the execution report, we can see the woman was only 21 years old and just 19 at the time of the crime. She married her husband on March 17, 2023. Afterwards, because she was unwilling to live with him, to put it bluntly, she didn't want to return the bride price, she developed the intent to kill. On May 29 of the same year, just about 2 months after the wedding, she used the opportunity of her husband drinking at her parents' house to prepare sleeping pills in advance. On the drive home after the drinking, she first made her husband take 6 sleeping pills under the guise of sobering him up. Then she parked the car next to a deep well she had located earlier and coerced her husband to go down the well to catch fish, hoping he would fall in and drown. Under the influence of alcohol and drugs, her husband did indeed fall while trying to go down the well. However, he didn't die on the spot. He called out to her for help 4 times. Not only did she refuse to help, but she also covered the well, leading to her husband's eventual death by suffocation. Tell me, this poisonous woman, she is truly unfit to be human, completely devoid of humanity. Based on the official details released, the fact that the husband, while drunk, was still willing to go down a well to catch fish for her shows that he treated her well. In contrast, the wife, simply because she didn't want to live with him and didn't want to return the bride price, chose to commit murder. And during the crime, she remained unmoved by her husband's multiple pleas for help, showing what a truly ruthless character she is. Ultimately, she was convicted of intentional homicide. Due to her despicable motive, heinous methods, and the extreme severity of her crime, she was sentenced to death and executed on September 26 of this year. Can be said she got what she deserved. To all the brothers out there, keep your eyes wide open. You never know when you might lose your life. Be more careful.
91年35岁
I am 35 years old this year, born in 1991, single, and considered past the marriageable age. What kind of feeling do I have now? I feel like this is no longer an era where I can delay things through my own efforts. Now, my family will also ask me what my plans are, what I have planned. I don't have any plans, and there is no one in my plans. At the same time, I am not in anyone else's plans either. My thoughts and wishes are very simple right now, which is to hope that I can get a good night's sleep every day. I would be very content and happy with that. It's as simple as that. And before we continue, let us know in the comments where you're watching this video from. Connecting with viewers from all around the world is a huge inspiration for us. Thank you so much.
我发现现在的相亲市场上
I've discovered that in the current matchmaking market, truly beautiful women are often unwanted, while average-looking girls are in high demand. Many of the average girls around me have already found partners, while many beautiful women are still single. I've been analyzing why so many men nowadays want to find these so-called ordinary girls. What defines ordinary? An average family background, average education, average looks, an average job, and relatively low expectations. The type of person who is suitable for a stable, everyday life. This kind of ordinary girl is a really hot commodity in the marriage market, much more sought after than those who come from good families, are highly educated, and are beautiful. Why is that? Because almost all men have self-awareness. Deep down, they know which type of girl is suitable for settling down and building a family with. A woman with high education, high income, and good looks is definitely not as cost-effective as an ordinary girl. Because the more advantages she has, the higher her expectations will be, and the more time it will take to win her over. It's all related to the concept of mate selection.
坚决坚决坚决不要去碰那些
Absolutely, resolutely, do not criticize those older leftover women. Why? Because they are a flock of old vultures who are materialistic, have an overinflated sense of self, are extremely selfish, and have been fed on toxic chicken soup for the soul and ethereal fantasies. The older they get, the higher their demands, and the more drama they create. They are also highly experienced, their mileage is too high, and some have even been driven into the ground. What haven't they seen? What haven't they played with? They are extremely cold and devoid of any emotion. They might have even had abortions, and their mouths are basically full of lies. They treat men like children to be coaxed. The loyalty, security, and the image of a good wife and mother that they project are mostly an act, and they can completely flip the switch at any time. An older single man is, at worst, just broke and bad at conversation. But an older single woman possesses a bizarre mindset that you can't even imagine. Nothing that happens with them should be surprising. She not only wants you to pay for her future life, but she also wants you to take on the baggage of her faded youth and the mistakes she has made.
很多女人说，你没有能力就别娶。
Many women say, if you don't have the ability, don't get married. What does having the ability mean? A guy who is the same age as you, how much ability can he possibly have? You can't demand that a man must have sufficient material wealth before marriage. If he already has that ability, would he marry you? Even if he did marry you, would he cherish you? This mindset of wanting something ready-made is devoid of virtue and value. It will not be respected. Most people are ordinary. When they get married, they don't have much ability or earn much money. The very purpose of marriage requires two people to stand shoulder to shoulder, to face life's challenges together, and to create a future together. It's normal for life to have its ups and downs. Economic situations can change due to things like unemployment, illness, or industry shifts. Therefore, being rich now doesn't guarantee he will be rich forever. If you haven't struggled together with someone, without that foundation of emotional connection and shared experience, your external beauty alone is not enough. Why can't a man who is temporarily poor but is motivated, responsible, and willing to strive and work hard together with a woman get married? The meaning of marriage is to share weal and woe and to support each other. Demanding that a man meet a certain material standard before marriage is tantamount to depriving young people of the right and joy of struggling together to create their own future. In real life, many happy marriages started from scratch, built by two people working together. Anything that comes ready-made will not be respected, so you must give up this mentality of wanting something ready-made.
96年男生拒绝了，原因很简单，因为我比他大。
The guy rejected me. The reason was very simple, because I'm older than him. Well, the last time my friend introduced him to me, I was still thinking, oh, he doesn't have a job yet. And I was the one looking down on him for not having a job. Haha, but it turned out when we asked, he was the one who disagreed. He didn't even fancy me. He thought I was too old. Then, after things with Chung Su didn't work out, I messaged my friend and said, can you help me ask him how he's been lately? My friend said, he doesn't want to date someone older than himself. I replied, all right. Who's to blame but myself for not thinking carefully back when I had choices? I didn't think seriously, and now I deeply regret it. To be honest, I don't even have an impression of what that friend of his looks like. What I want to say is, for my sisters who are not yet 30, if you want to get married and find a partner but feel that matchmaking is annoying or something, and you have this feeling of resistance, what I want to tell you is that you must take advantage of your youth. Whenever there's an introduction, I suggest you go and get to know the person. Really, once you get to my age in your 30s, the options are too limited, and you'll most likely only be able to find someone older than yourself. Men, they always like younger women. If you become a rich woman, well, let's not talk about that. Then you can pick and choose. But for ordinary girls like us who want to get married, you should do it early. Don't drag it out until your 30s like me. Well, there's nothing that can be done now. I just have to keep trying my best.
这年头啊，什么人最惨？
In this day and age, who are the most miserable people? Actually, it's not those who can't afford to get married. The most miserable are those who paid a high bride price to get a wife, only for her to have already run off with someone else. I have a few colleagues who got married, and in less than 2 years, their wives ran off with other men. Some haven't even had the chance to divorce yet, and their wives are already having children for someone else. They all said they paid a hefty bride price, emptying their parents' entire life savings. Some even had to borrow money from everywhere, scraping it together, truly selling the pot to melt the iron just to get married. After getting married, before they even finished paying off the bride price loan, their wives left, the money went down the drain, and they ended up losing both their wife and their money. Therefore, in today's society, being single is not shameful at all. What's shameful is the group of people who emptied their parents' lifelong, hard-earned money to pay a high bride price for a wife, only for her to eventually run off with someone else. They're the ones who are truly shameful. In reality, it's not that men don't want to marry or start a family. Who doesn't want a wife and the warmth of a family with children? The key issue is that it's incredibly difficult to find a reliable woman who is willing to build a home and a life together. Out of 10 women you meet, 8 are gold diggers. They're either looking for a man to pay off their debts or to pull them out of poverty. If not for poverty alleviation, they are there to strip you of your assets. You want to get married. She wants to get rich. Sometimes it's not that men are stingy or tight-fisted. It's that modern men have completely awakened. They naturally won't invest in something they know will lead to nothing. To be honest, it's also because they're afraid of being deceived. Instead of letting money go to waste, it's better to invest in oneself, to improve one's own abilities. That is always a surefire investment that will never result in a loss. Don't you all agree this makes sense? Oh, it's so difficult.
天天说女人是孬女，孬女，孬女咋了？
You're always going on about women this, men that. What's wrong with men? I'm in a relationship with you. Have I ever taken anything from you? Have I ever asked you for anything? You act like dating me is a transaction, like you're guilt-tripping me. Don't get your feathers ruffled just yet. Let me do the math for you. We're dating, so we have to eat out twice a week, right? Isn't that how it's supposed to be? Let's just take your favorite hot pot, for example. One meal is 200 renminbi, that's not too much, right? Twice a week is 400 renminbi. There are 4 weeks in a month, so how much is that? 1,600 renminbi. Okay, so hot pot is 1,600 renminbi. You don't know how to cook, so you have to order takeout for every meal. I'll just calculate it at 60 renminbi a day for you. That's not a small amount, is it? 60 renminbi a day is a lot? If I ordered for myself, it would be that much anyway. In a month, that's 1,800 renminbi plus the 1,600 renminbi. What does that equal? 2,000. Wrong, it's 3,400 renminbi. I knew your math was bad. And I haven't even calculated the milk tea for you yet. 3 cups of milk tea a week, 20 renminbi a cup. That's 60 renminbi a week. 4 weeks is 240 renminbi. 3,400 renminbi plus 240 renminbi. That's already over 3,600 renminbi. Huh, that much. And what about holidays? Do I have to send you a 520 renminbi red envelope on holidays? Will you accept it? What if I send you 52 renminbi, would you take it? Would you accept a 52 renminbi red envelope? Of course I would, come on, send it to me. Speaking of which, if you add it all up, isn't it getting close to 4,000 renminbi? So, how much do you earn a month? I make 5,000 renminbi a month, it's enough for me. Then let me ask you, do you save money? What for? As long as I'm happy, that's all that matters. Well, that solves the case then. Even if I earn 8,000 renminbi a month, after subtracting this 4,000 renminbi in expenses, and buying you little gifts and snacks from time to time, I'm only left with a little over 2,000 renminbi. Don't I still have to pay rent? You're the man. Isn't that your responsibility and duty? Then can you treat me to a meal just once? Even just a hot pot meal would be fine. When do girls ever pay for guys? Isn't it always the guy who pays? A relationship is a two-way street. Besides saying as long as I'm happy, what have you contributed? Is it all based on emotional value? Yeah. Well, can you eat emotional value? I'd also like for someone to treat me to a hot pot meal. Everyone, what do you think? In a relationship, should the guy pay for everything, or should it be a mutual effort? Let's discuss it in the comments section.
再过几年，大龄剩女的接盘侠只能是退休老头了。
In a few more years, the only ones left to take over the older single women will be retired old men. Nowadays, there are more and more older single women in the cities, and men have also entered an era of awakening. By the time these older single women wake up from their fantasies, their final choice will only be retired old men. Why do I say this? First, men in the city face immense pressure in life and cannot afford to buy a house, so they often choose to return to their hometowns. However, a portion of women are determined to stay in the city. This has created a situation where there are more women than men in urban areas. Second, even if older single women lower their standards, it is difficult for them to find a suitable partner. The physical functions of many women have declined, making childbirth difficult, so men naturally will not consider them. Third, the post-2000s generation is gradually entering the marriage market, intensifying the competition and making the situation for older single women even more difficult. I know many women will criticize me for saying this, but it is the truth, isn't it?
刚刚接到我妈给我打的电话。
I just got a call from my mom. She said my younger brother is already 25 years old, but still doesn't have a car, which makes dating difficult for him. She said he needs to buy a decent car, at least something around 200,000 renminbi, about 27,400 US dollars. I told her to go ahead and buy it, but she said my brother hasn't worked for long, his salary isn't enough for living expenses, so he has no money to buy a car. I said then don't buy it for now. Wait until there's enough money. But my mom said everyone in the family has a car, and since our family even raised 2 university graduates, it would be embarrassing if we still couldn't afford one. My dad said he would grit his teeth and help gather the money, and no matter what, they had to buy him a car this year. I said, do as you wish, but my mom said they were still short of money. I told her to wait until they had enough, but my dad suggested getting a car loan. However, he said the loan would have to be repaid by me, and to spare me the pressure, they decided not to borrow. I asked what that had to do with me, and my mom said, of course it's related. If your brother has a car, he can pick you up when you come home, so it's like we're buying it for you too. I told her I could rent a car myself. I didn't need anyone to pick me up. My mom got angry, saying I didn't understand anything, that every big sister in the village helps her brother buy a car or a house. She said she wasn't asking me to buy it all, just to contribute some money, and wondered if she hadn't treated me well enough. I asked why being a sister means I must buy a car or house for my brother. My mom said my dad told her to ask me to hurry and agree to cover the shortfall. Asked how much they were short, and she said they only had a little over 20,000 renminbi, about 2,740 US dollars, and needed about 200,000 renminbi more, around 27,000 US dollars. She went on to complain that my dad couldn't make money and her health was ruined from working hard to raise me and send me to school. Then she said that when she gave birth to me, she was humiliated in the village because I was a girl, had several miscarriages afterward, and finally gave birth to my brother after many hardships. Finally, she asked when I could transfer the money and told me not to tell my husband because he was petty. She told me to be smart and not tell my in-laws everything because my birth family was my real support. I said fine, I wouldn't tell him, but I also wouldn't send any money. She got furious, calling me ungrateful and saying she'd spent so much raising me, and now I was repaying her with ingratitude. I hung up, not because I didn't understand her, but because I didn't want to. They wanted to buy a car costing over 200,000 renminbi, only contributed 20,000, which was originally hospital money when my dad had a stomach bleed, and expected me to make up the remaining 27,000 US dollars. Absolutely ridiculous. After I hung up, my mom bombarded me with messages saying my husband must have brainwashed or drugged me, that I'd lost my senses and couldn't tell who really loved me. She said their son, my brother, should be my top priority, even above my husband and child. She even criticized me whenever I bought a toy or paid for a class for my child. I had endured it for a long time, but now that they wanted to take money from me, it was too much. I thought, even if I had money, I wouldn't give them a penny. Their blood-sucking behavior was too blatant. At least if they had disguised it under affection or care, I might have softened. But this? I'm not stupid enough to let them exploit me anymore.
Nowadays, a lot of divorced women want to find a rich man. There's nothing wrong with that. To be honest, after you've been divorced and hurt, you naturally want to find a man with better conditions to live a more comfortable life. Yes, I can completely understand that feeling. Who doesn't want to live with more dignity? Who doesn't want to be cherished, doted on, and loved? Exactly. But the problem is, if you want to find a rich man, what does a rich man see in you? Your age? Your extensive life experience? Or the fact that you come with family baggage and a mountain of debt? Right. Don't be offended because this is just reality. Yes, reality is harsh. Correct. Let me say something blunt. Okay, divorce is not your fault. Right. But after the divorce, if you're still dreaming about a domineering CEO falling in love with you, well, then that's on you. Just think about it. Why would you think that successful men with a plethora of choices would specifically choose a woman who's been married before? Right. You might complain that your ex-husband was incompetent and poor, but do those truly rich and capable men lack young, beautiful, innocent, and understanding girls around them? They don't. They don't, right? Exactly. So why would they pass up on a fresh young flower to pick you? A flower that has been weathered by life several times over? More character, you say? I'm not talking about character, nor am I saying you're not a good person. I'm definitely not saying that a divorced woman is inferior. That's absolutely not what I mean. I genuinely want to remind you that this world is very realistic, and men are even more realistic than women. Yes, especially the so-called high-quality men. When they look for a partner, they're not looking for someone to pity. They are solving a multiple-choice question. Do you know what it is? Who brings more prestige when taken out? Who is easier to get along with? Who can be a support to them rather than a source of pressure? Right. You might say, but I have life experience, I understand men, I know how to take care of people. Yes, that's true. Those might be your strengths. But have you ever considered that all those things you mentioned, those 27 or 28-year-old girls with high emotional intelligence and good looks can also provide? Yes, they might even provide more, better, and with more ease. That makes sense. You might not like the word virtuous, thinking it's old-fashioned, right? But do you know that many men, when looking for a wife, are looking for exactly that? And you? You couldn't even manage your last marriage properly. How can you prove to the next man that you can hold a family together? Right. And then there are some women who spend all day immersed in beauty camera apps. The moment they turn on the filter, they feel like they're on top of the world again. Sister, that's fake. You can deceive yourself, but can you deceive others? Turn off your phone. In reality, you have wrinkles at the corners of your eyes, don't you? Yes. You have scars in your heart, don't you? You do. And you might have a child standing next to you waiting to be fed, waiting to go to school. Right. None of these things can be erased by a level 10 beauty filter. It's true. I'm not trying to bring you down today. I genuinely want to wake you up. Stop fantasizing all day about some knight in shining armor who will take on all your baggage. In reality, where are you going to find so many foolish men waiting to raise another man's wife and child? Right. The men who are genuinely interested in divorced women are often those without much sincerity, without much substance, or even those with ulterior motives. Yes, you're interested in him for his money, but what is he interested in you for? Think about it carefully. So I say, instead of dreaming those unrealistic dreams, it's better to calm your heart and live your current life well. Right. Divorce is not the end. It's the starting point for you to rediscover yourself and begin a new life. True happiness is never obtained by marrying up, right? Instead, it comes from walking steadily on your own 2 feet. Then one day you'll look down and realize it has been in your hands all along.
As we wrap up this exploration of modern Chinese emotions around love, marriage, and societal pressures, let's reflect on the raw stories we've uncovered, from the loneliness of older single women navigating a shifting dating landscape, to men awakening to the risks of high-stakes dowries and fleeting commitments, and the heartbreaking tales of family expectations clashing with personal realities. These narratives aren't just anecdotes. They're mirrors reflecting a society in transition, where traditional norms collide with contemporary awakenings. The key lesson here is that true love isn't a transaction measured in dowries, cars, or age brackets. It's a partnership built on mutual respect, shared struggles, and genuine connection. We've seen how women in their 30s, once empowered by independence, now face a market flooded with younger options, urging us all to seize opportunities in our youth without letting societal timelines dictate our worth. Men, too, are learning to prioritize self-investment over blind pursuits, realizing that a rushed marriage can lead to regret, financial ruin, or even tragedy, as in those chilling cases of betrayal and loss. And for families, the pressure to keep up with material displays often blinds us to the emotional toll, turning siblings into rivals and homes into battlegrounds. Yet, amidst these challenges, there's profound value in awakening. Embrace your authenticity. Whether you're an ordinary woman valued for your grounded spirit or a man choosing solitude over exploitation, marriage should enhance life, not define it. It's about co-creating a future through ups and downs, not picking ready-made success. To the young viewers, cherish your time, communicate openly, and seek partners who see your soul, not your status. For those feeling stuck, remember, being single isn't failure. It's space for growth, self-love, and perhaps unexpected joy. In the end, Chinese emotions teach us resilience. Love evolves, societies change, but the heart's true north remains: kindness, equality, and courage to rewrite our stories. Thank you for joining Chinese Emotion. Let's carry these insights forward, fostering healthier relationships in our lives and communities. Subscribe for more heartfelt dives and share your thoughts below. Until next time, stay true to your emotions.